So give it to us. What is Tyler?
All right. So
how do you categorize Tyler?
I feel like, and again, this is so weird because it's like, man, I really
don't hold back. Don't hold back on those guys. Don't hold back on these two.
And depending on what you think I am, delivering in that manner.
So I would say Tyler is probably an SC. Again, like listen to the podcast, like a lot of the stories that you've told, of saying like, hey, you really think about other people and other people's situations.
So what is that? Give us the S again.
So the S is steadiness, again, accommodating, patient, humble, tactful. The C is very analytical. I don't remember which episode it was, but when y'all were kind of busting on him saying like, hey, so why exactly do I need to run that gap? And like, I want to know every little thing about it. He wants some check boxes as a part of that, is my guess. My guess.
We're going to take this test, by the way, and see how accurate it is.
All right. I will agree with that. I think that those are, I was thinking maybe SI just because the energy,
maybe.
Some of that, like I want everybody to be involved and I want everybody to do that, but the SC does make sense.
But give us an example of how you would talk to Tyler and how you wouldn't talk to Tyler.
Well, so I think, talking about how in that charrette setting, I think again, and this is where I say you may have some I tendencies, or maybe you're an SI with some C tendencies.
Hey, I'm sick.
Yeah,
sick dog.
I think you're a dick. You're a dick. You're a DIC.
Yeah. I'm probably going to use that one. But I think talking to you, if you are that S, and like maybe I've got to give you some constructive criticism. If I'm like, man, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you're not going to respond to that. So it's kind of the sandwich model. I would probably come to you and say like, man, you're doing this great. You're doing this great. Man, you need to work on these things and then end with some positive stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that accurate?
I totally so I think back to coaching. I mean, I love feedback. I love getting the coaching. I love that. But I agree. I've probably already, and this is where the C, I think, I've already figured out what I've done wrong. So I already know it, right? Because I'm hypercritical. I think you and I are very similar in that. Hypercritical of myself, and like I know where my shortfalls are. Do I change them all the time? No, not always. But I already know them. But I also love the encouragement. So if a coach is just telling me I'm crappy and I'm not good or I'm not this,
it's not going to motivate you.
It doesn't help me. It really doesn't get me jacked up to be better because I'm already hearing that. All you did was reinforce what I already think in my head. So that's right on. That's spot on.
That's interesting. Just
right,
from
Ben.
listening to us.
Ben?
Yeah, go. I'll do next.
Man, so you are probably the hardest to pin for me. Maybe it's just because these guys talk
automatically
so much
makes
on
him a C, right?
Yeah.
Automatically just
like
you just reinforced what he just said. It's because you guys talk so much. You didn't even hear what he said because you were ready to talk.
It's hard to get a read on Ben when y'all don't let him get any words in.
Let him speak.
But
it's come to the point where it's not even we don't let him. He just takes it. He just goes.
I paid him to say.
I was going to say he told me he would take me to steak dinner to say that. So just tell me what time.
I got you.
I think you're probably a little bit more C than S. Now, I mean, I think in y'all's genre of work, I think you have to have some I in you. You got to be outgoing, the sales part of it. And again, maybe this is me, maybe not having a great understanding of everything that you guys do day to day. But I think the analytics and certainly the accommodating and the patient, that's my guess for you is similar. But I think to me, you do seem more outgoing than maybe.
Oh, for sure. I can be outgoing in certain scenarios.
Like you force yourself into it maybe?
Yeah, it's not comfortable. I am very much the one to that example you used earlier. If we're all working on a project, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to kind of analyze and wait a little bit, and then I'll give my perspective on it. No,
in familiar situations for him, like that's when he's got, I think Ben, and he's got a small group of people that he's really, really comfortable around. And like, hilarious, right? But you put him into a large setting that he's not familiar with. It's a very different delivery. I
feel like hell is networking events. That's what I
was
feel
just
like.
Going to bring that up. I go into those and I'm like, great. I got so many people that I'm going to meet. Yeah. But here's the negative to that. And again, the effective communication. You'll go in there and you'll make 2 really meaningful relationships.
Right.
And I'll go in there and hand out 30 business cards and be like, who was it that I talked to today? You know, so there's some
really
of that
strategic.
too.
Like he's very strategic in how he approaches things.
Yeah.
Like he's the processor, and then I think he's right. I think you're right. He's an SC because he's steady. And he has some humility about him as well. So I think that's about
guys, you guys are great. Thank you. All right, enough about me. I'm ready. The big show, the big dog. What is Darren?
Darren's a D, for sure.
Did you call me?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. There's a camera on, so you can't do anything too bad, right?
We have video evidence here.
Don't turn the camera off.
Hey, what a D, man.
So we're gonna start saying, Darren, quit being such a D.
All right, so this will be used ongoing.
Remind us about the D.
But I mean,
maybe give some positives about the D too at the end.
Oh yeah. But I mean, there definitely are
down.
positives because you've got to get some stuff done, right? If it's just a bunch of me, you know, like, oh, let's talk about all these things. No, when are you going to put the rubber to the road? Where are you going to get some stuff done? And I think that is the big advantage of being a D, more dominant, you know, in that communication type, because you know you're results oriented. You got to have that balance, and I think that's probably why y'all work well together, because you have a lot of that balance. So I think, you know, from that standpoint, I mean, y'all talking about it before of, you know, the group text that somebody doesn't respond to, or, you know, man, I don't need this big dissertation. Just give me the bullet points.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got a lot of clients that are Ds. I think in many situations, like engineers are Ds. They're just get it done, or they're Cs, like very, very detail oriented. And a lot of the developers that we work with are former engineers or had some engineering background. So, you know, from that standpoint, that communicating with a D, again, like, I want to give you the whole story. You don't care about the whole story.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God. My wife is like, hey, she's got ammo. You get my wife, and she says that about me every day. Like, you don't want the fluff.
No.
You just want
Give
what
me
it
the
is.
details.
Because I don't have time. Like, I don't want to read. And I don't know is that an age thing though? Because I think as I've gotten older, I think I'm more.
You're honoring. You're honoring.
Yeah, it's not that I'm honoring. I
ain't got time for this.
Exactly. I don't have time for it. Just give me the meat of it and let's move on. I know I am.
Yeah.
When you described it earlier, a D, I was like, oh, that's Jaden. I
Check.
got a question. Jaden, I got a question. Which one am I? My son, Jaden.
Jaden's is running our switcher day. He's Darren's son, and he just confirmed.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
But again, you know, if that goes into clients or at home, you know, at home, if Tiffany is trying to like give you some download, she knows or should.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah,
She's going to download.
maybe not.
Anyway.
Yeah.
She's just going to download.
No, and that's a great point is that because I've known Darren since 2014, 15.
Yeah.
And I'm not a dominant, I'm not a D like he is. And so it's learning over these years for us to communicate effectively. I've got to reduce, because I want to give him this full backstory. I want to give, you know, the context.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about all that.
But you know what? I think that's the communication, and specifically he and I, is he knows how to talk to me like, hey, we need to do this. Like, I think you've gotten there to the point where
Learning slowly.
If we have to do something, then he's gonna say, hey, you know, sit down, let's do it. And I'm okay with that. Like,
But that's
right.
that trust that y'all build
Yeah.
too.
If he, on the reverse side, if he does that to me, I'm sitting, oh man, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, he must not like me.
And,
like,
and on the backward side of that, of like, you know, again, and it took me a while to kind of understand this with a client. If I got a client who's a D and I'm like, you know, and I get that email, Jonathan, where are we at on this? And that's the whole email. I'm like, I'm reading it, I'm going, oh God, you know, he's pissed off. I've missed something, you know, whatever. Really, he's just being like, hey, just give me an update.
Yeah.
Where are we at?